Jacob is a high school student in a small town in New Hampshire. His school has well-equipped classrooms, labs, music and art studios, and a brand new gymnasium that's the envy of traveling sports teams. He has his pick of AP classes, all taught by instructors with graduate degrees in their disciplines. His AP physics class is designing robots in the school's new makerspace studio, and his Spanish class is planning a trip to Costa Rica. He meets regularly with his school counselor to chart a course to his dream college. Halfway through Jacob's junior year, his dad loses his job, and his family goes to live with his grandparents in a nearby town. His new high school is just 25 minutes away from his old one, but it feels like a different world. The classrooms are crowded, and technology and textbooks are out of date. Jacob can't take the calculus class he needs for his college major because not enough students enrolled this year. He wants to meet with his school counselor about it, but she's so overscheduled that he's been waiting weeks to get an appointment with her. While his former classmates are in Costa Rica, Jacob is adapting to learning Spanish in an online course. Jacob isn't real, but his story illustrates the reality of how school funding affects the experiences of most students in New Hampshire. So how does school funding work in New Hampshire? Who decides how much money schools get? And where does the money come from? Let's take a closer look. According to the New Hampshire Constitution, every student has the right to the opportunity for an adequate education paid for by the state. In 2020, the state gave districts $3,708 per student in base adequacy funds, which is meant to cover the total combined cost of teachers, instructional materials, facilities, transportation, a school counselor, a principal, and technology. In addition, districts receive differentiated aid funds based on their number of special education students, English language learners, students who qualify for free or reduced price lunch, and students who are not deemed proficient in reading by 3rd grade. So why did Jacob's school experience change so much when he moved to a new town? What made the difference? Mainly, property values. In reality, no school in New Hampshire operates solely on state funds. A large portion of every school's budget comes from local property taxes. New Hampshire doesn't have a sales or income tax. Instead, people and businesses pay taxes based on the value of their homes and buildings, and those taxes pay for schools. There are different reasons why a town has more property wealth than others, like if it is near a body of water, or if there is a lot of industry with fewer residents. Districts with more property wealth per student are able to spend a lot more on their schools. So while the state funds about $3,708 per student, the amount that a school district spends varies widely, with some spending less than $15,000 per student, and some spending more than $25,000 per student. But wait, how can that be? Well, people have been asking that question for a long time. In the early 90s, 5 school districts sued the state over the way it pays for public education. The New Hampshire Supreme Court ruled in their favor, citing the state constitution. The language commands, in no uncertain terms, that the state provide an education to all its citizens and that it support all public schools. No laws were changed as a result. So in 1997, the same school districts took the state back to court and won again. This time, the state legislature responded by creating the statewide property tax and changing the formula so that the state funds schools based on the number of students they serve. The funding formula has been revised several times since then, but in many ways, not much has changed. And so, another group of schools sued the state in 2019, asserting that the $3,708 schools receive from the state per student is not adequate to fund an education. In 2020, the state legislature created a commission of lawmakers and community members to study school funding and make recommendations for how to fund a more equitable education system for all students across New Hampshire. There are no easy answers. The stakes are high, and they're different for everyone. What do you think? What does an adequate education consist of? How can inequities between districts be addressed? Who should pay for it?